Yeah.
Hey guys, what up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a book review of two Seth Godin books. One is Tribes and the other one is Purple Cows. If you're a big fan of him, these are two of his books. If you're trying to figure out what to read next, I definitely would suggest these two. Purple Cow right here. It's kind of interesting. I don't think this book actually came with a cover, but this is Purple Cow, just the little purple book. So if you're looking for something like super quick and easy to read, where you just want to get some good information that's like packed into a small book, like I would definitely suggest Seth Godin's books for that particular reason. I think I was able to read this in maybe 3 hours, if that. So, and I'm not even that fast of a reader. So I would say his books, kind of the logistics of his books, you know, they're very small, they're very like to the point, you know, very, very straightforward and very conversational. That's one thing that kind of like threw me for a loop when I first started reading his books, because I'm so used to, you know, reading books, for instance, like Malcolm Gladwell's books. He has these, you know, introductions, and it kind of tells these stories, and then he tells another story, and then as the book goes along, you kind of see how everything starts to connect. This book, he'll give you a short little paragraph of a story and just jump right into it, and you're like, whoa, hey. You honestly feel like you're right there with him, talking and having a nice conversation just about the book and about you, and trying to learn and grow and grasp these concepts he's talking about. Essentially, I would say that this is a marketing book, but it's not like a marketing book. But his book, I love the fact that he makes them so practical, and you could literally apply this to if you had, you know, a company with hundreds of employees, if you had 10 employees, or if it's just you. So that's one thing that I definitely enjoyed about his book. Purple Cow is essentially being remarkable. And that's kind of the whole concept of his book, is being remarkable, is standing out, and really standing in who you are as a person and the products and services that you have. Because essentially, if you're one person and then your product is marketed towards a completely different person that has nothing really to do with you, I mean, there's no real connection there. So he talks a little bit about that in the book. One of the main things that he talks about is how large corporations are like totally in the toilet right now. Like they're just failing left and right. And the thing about that is because they're so stuck in the way that they were marketing in the 40s and 50s and 60s, and when television first started and people were so excited about TV and they actually sat there and watched commercials and took those recommendations. And then he talks about how now in this day and age, we're so overly saturated with billboards and ads on the side of Facebook, ads on the side of just tons of things that we're doing, that most of us don't even pay attention to advertisements anymore. We just, you know, scan right past them, go to the information that we want, and that's it. There's very few of us that actually click on those banner ads. And he gives an example of that in the book as well, that, you know, if you spend X amount of money on banner ads, you know, let's say 10 years ago, it was so much more expensive, and now you can get it for almost like pennies because nobody will click on it. One thing that also talks about that's really, really big is, you know, just being fearless and being confident in the product or service that you have, and you as a person and the ideas that you have, and infusing them into that product. Because so many people will come out with something that's, you know, it seems like a good idea, but they're not fully invested, and because of that, it fails. And then he talks about how, you know, certain businesses and certain individuals who created products, how they ended up being successful because no matter what, they were going to stick with that product. If they didn't get results the first time around, they were going to tweak it and put it back out there, and, you know, just stood 100% by their product. So it's kind of a cool book. I just think it's an overall good read. It's very to the point, also very broad in the sense that you can apply it to a lot of different things. And I just think overall it's just a really good book and a really good read. So that's Purple Cow. Now, saying that, this book kind of ties a lot in with this book, so I honestly would get both, because he kind of talks a little bit about tribes in this book and how to market to your kind of people. And then this book here, Tribes, is actually about how to find those people. This book is very, very short as well. And this book is a little bit more interactive than Purple Cow, that if you want like a quick self-help book, like I honestly would grab this. Like overall, it's just pretty much how to attract your tribe to be able to mobilize your idea. So how do you find those people that are going to take your idea to the next level? Because obviously, you know, you can't do everything by yourself if you want your project or business or whatever to be on the next level. So he talks about, you know, how people of a certain tribe, you know, they have a certain way that they communicate with each other. And, you know, you have people that are in the tech industry and they have like tech lingo that they use, and, you know, their whole tribe understands what they're all talking about. It's essentially, you know, how to be a leader, and then how to teach your tribe beneath you, the people that work for you or work with you to kind of achieve this idea, how to teach them to be leaders as well. And I think that's a very interesting concept because, you know, for so many decades, growing up just, being in school and then being told, oh, when you graduate college, you're going to go get a job and you're going to work for somebody and this and that. Once you get in those jobs, you pretty much realize that you're not trained to be a leader. You're trained pretty much to do A, B, and C, which is what they tell you, and that's it. He's pretty much like obliterating that idea and saying that a lot of those big corporations who were so big for so many years and for so many decades are actually failing because they're not teaching their employees to be leaders. They're not teaching them to think on their own. And because of that, all the ideas pretty much come from the CEO, who is probably burnt out, who probably hasn't had a vacation in forever. And they're not allowing, the new blood, the new people in their environment to kind of pitch them ideas to grow the company in a more diverse way. So I thought that was really interesting. I loved that about this book. It's not about just you. If your vision is to be big and broad, you have to incorporate other people and teach them and help them to hone their skills so that they could push you further, and it kind of builds loyalty. It's funny because he also talks about the music industry, how the industry itself is crumbling and deflating because of this same idea. They kind of created a monopoly along a certain amount of record labels. These are going to be the few major labels, and they essentially like pimped their artist instead of creating a sense of loyalty amongst those artists and saying, hey, we're going to do this for you, this. And because of that, now the pendulum is swinging the other way, and we have these artists that are doing things independently. There's indie labels now, and they're just trying to keep as much money in their pockets as possible. And they're not trying to run back to these, big corporations, to these big labels, because there's no trust there. So overall, really, really good book. Again, very, very to the point, but very, very broad in the sense that you can apply it to a lot of different things. So both of these, I would say to get both of them at the same time and just read them, kind of touch on different concepts that are in each of the books. So that's kind of cool. And not to mention, in one of these books, I can't remember if it was Tribes or Purple Cow, but he actually mentioned some information from Malcolm Gladwell. So I was like, oh, okay, I see what he's talking about. I know, because I just finished reading those books. So if you guys want to see my review of the Malcolm Gladwell books that I did a couple weeks ago, you can click up here. So if you guys are looking forward to more book reviews, I'll be doing more of those as well. All right, you guys, thank you for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you want to see more. I'll be posting more as usual. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.